Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Miranda's Victim. And this is a new drama biopic that takes place in 1963. This 18-year-old Patricia Weir is kidnapped and brutally raped by Ernesto Miranda. Yes, that Miranda. And this is the story behind the law and Miranda rights and that court ruling. So this is from director Michelle Danner, and who has worked on other projects that I'm not too familiar with. But this film focuses on Trish Weir, played by Abigail Breslin, who I think gives a fine performance here as this young, reserved woman who's such a ray of sunshine and then goes through this horrible, brutal experience. And then this film really capturing the miscarriage of justice that, like, this rapist who, spoiler alert, here's the thing. This has rarely happened, so I'm going to be loose with, like, revealing things. It's like, he was convicted, Supreme Court overturned it, and they had to go back to court and put this woman through this whole entire experience all over again after she was raped and was afraid for her life. And in the end, he winds up getting convicted, paroled, and things don't go well for Ernesto Miranda in the end. But this is such a interesting story because I never really knew much about this. And, like, the fact that this whole Miranda situation came out of, like, this was a rape trial. And obviously I know what the idea of Miranda rights are and everything, but I really didn't know the story behind, like, the actual case. And I don't feel like a whole lot of people talk about the actual case, that, like, this man was not given the proper rights to have right of attorney and everything, except based off of what this film showed, like, he was very obviously guilty of what he did. But you have Breslin here, and you have such an interesting cast thrown together. Like, Kyle MacLachlan pops up for Supreme Court Justice Warren. You have Emily Van Camp of, like, Marvel fame as Trish's sister. Marielle Enos, who plays her mother. Ryan Phillippe plays the John Flynn, the ACLU lawyer that winds up representing Miranda. Luke Wilson is Weir's lawyer, and you even have, like, Andy Garcia and Donald Sutherland popping up as lawyers and judges in this too. It's like there's a lot of big name people in this. Like, I don't know how many of them, like, Ryan Phillippe I think is a little over the top in this movie, and I didn't really buy his performance so much. Luke Wilson I think does fine. And then, like, you have the cops in this too. Like, everybody feels like a caricature. Even, like, at Weir's husband, who she winds up marrying, like, everybody turns out to be these very, like, one-dimensional kind of feeling characters that make this film feel very one-dimensional, despite the fact that, like, this is a complicated situation. And I feel like this film just comes off feeling very, like, paint by the numbers kind of biopic or, like, true life drama type film that really doesn't dig deep enough into these issues to really give a thoughtful and contemplative look at it. It just very surface level, and for 2 hours and 7 minutes, it still takes up a lot of your time to get through this story to make a very, very blunt, clear message of, like, this, and, like, this was such a horrible miscarriage of justice, and it's just like, there's no nuance to how this story is told. It feels very by the numbers kind of court drama, feels very by the numbers, this kind of, like, police procedural, because it spends a bunch of time with the police here who feel very, like, surface level, and the characters don't have a whole lot of depth. So overall, I feel like this film plays it way too safe, way too one note, to really do justice to this complicated situation. And in the end, I don't know how much this film really does justice to this story, but I do still feel like it's important to shed a light on that aspect of that ruling, which obviously has changed law enforcement for forever. But what did it do to this one woman who's the victim in this whole entire situation? But those are my thoughts on Miranda's Victim. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.